So a few weeks ago, I posted a video regarding Virgin Galactic and a couple other companies, so I didn't necessarily look directly in depth into this company. So we're going to go ahead and take a deep dive into Virgin Galactic and take a look at what this stock has to offer, if it's something to even look at. We'll take a look. First, we're going to just look at the stock here. What's going on with this? To be honest, if you want to have the word volatile up here and put the definition of it's going to have a picture of a Virgin Galactic stock on there maybe. If you look at the stock chart in the past week, overall doesn't seem that crazy, up 7%, but these highs and lows, and this thing was upwards of $19.75 at one point, went all the way down to right around $15.90, so it's fluctuated a good 10-20% in a 5-day period, which is pretty wild. But if you look at the history of the stock, you'll see something similar as well. So I would just point out to, let's say, since inception here of last year, around then, really, I mean, nothing going on here. Let's talk about when we actually get some trading movement here. So this will be right around October of this previous year. Since then, this thing obviously is up massively, 68%. But there were times where this thing was low, and it looked like it was just kept going down to the $7 range in December. And since December, this bad boy is up quite a bit, around 130%. So obviously a lot of huge run up here. So what's going on with the stock? Why is it doing that? We're going to take a look first at the company, then we're going to look at some of the news regarding it on what exactly it has going for it and if it's maybe potentially worth buying. So obviously their website is actually pretty cool, I'd say. I'm a fan of their website, so obviously it goes into a couple things. Obviously their news tab here on your far left regarding anything going on with the company. Obviously you have in your middle here your purpose, your mission statement, and the vision of where they're headed. All of these offer you everything. Research flights here. Obviously big key there. C is pretty much as a virtual reality experience that they put you through just to look at their vehicles that they're developing, the planes they're developing. And your watch is just a short description of the company and the vehicles themselves. So overall, their website's pretty interesting. So what does Virgin Galactic do? So their real main focus is space travel. I mean, that's there's no real easier way to put it than that. Space travel is their goal, but it's not necessarily just space travel. There's many things that they're looking for, obviously. One thing is the use of reusable space travel vehicles. And the key here is reusable, because if you think about NASA launching a rocket, the thing is it's a one-time use thing. So after that, you're not going to be reusing the same rocket. That's just really just not how it goes. So their point is to make these space shuttles, which are reusable, that you can go back and forth from different locations from. And they're still waiting on some test flights to see what's going on. But overall, it's an interesting concept because it's something, it is truly the future. There will become a point, obviously, if we don't find, a solution for, I hate to say there's overpopulation, but there's definitely some overpopulation. We might have to expand and search to, other planets for potential resources. There's a lot we really don't know about space right now, and as advanced we are and technologically advanced we are, it's kind of a shocker that we don't know all this. So the real main purpose too here is that these reusable shuttles will allow for the use of important research to be done. It's so much easier if you can have a reusable jet to get back and forth where you need to go in order to do your research. So this will be from getting samples for potential life, regardless of what that life may be. Even plant life, that's the thing. That's really what we might need. We might need some resources. That might be the key. If we can find resources on other planets to help fuel us here on Earth, that could be a potential here. Now, I'm not a doomsday prepper by any means, so I'm not necessarily worried about this happening anytime in my lifetime, because it certainly won't. We're not going to be doomed by any means, and if we are, you know what? The Earth's weather's so cyclical. I mean, what do you expect? If you look at the history of the Earth, we're getting too much into history. It's okay. I'm just telling you, space is going to be the future. There's no doubt about it. We're going to be expanding into space, wherever that goes. I don't think we're going Star Wars yet, but you know what? We are going to be expanding into space, and it'll be good to know what's out there, actually. That's the main thing. I mean, there's still stuff on Earth we haven't discovered, deep, deep, deep down in the oceans, the deepest parts. There's things we haven't discovered there, so I'd rather discover what's on Earth first, but I'm getting into just a little bit of a tangent, just on a little bit of a tangent. Don't worry. I'm going to talk about Virgin Galactic. So what do I know about this company? Pretty much absolutely nothing, because, well, there's not much out about them right now. So if you're analyzing this company as a investment, it's 100% off of speculation right now, because there's not much that's actually going on that you can base it off of. They're not a company making money. I mean, what can you say? They're not releasing any sort of balance sheets, anything like that. We know nothing regarding this company right now. These people could be billions of dollars in debt already and making nothing right now. And if you think about it, the main thing I want to mention, obviously another big portion of their business eventually would be commercial flights, right? Commercial flights to and from locations in space. My only thing about that is going to be how secluded of a market that's really going to include. You're not necessarily going to be going to your common middle-class family. They're not going to be able to afford these ticket prices to go there and back. I'm just going to be frankly honest. Those space ventures are going to cost way too much for anyone but the richest of the rich. At least if we're talking 10, 20 years out at least. I mean, this is technology that we probably won't see viable for another 40, 50 years, just to be frankly honest, before it's actually commercially viable. I understand we're advancing so quickly, but before it's actually commercially viable to just the normal consumer, we're talking very far out, and I don't think that's an absurd statement at all. So I find it very, very hard to judge this company right now, just based off that fact that I don't know what the future holds for this type of business. You know what I mean? Now, I do think there's a lot they can gain in terms of their research portion of it. So if they partner up with, say, NASA, there's a lot they can do as far as research is concerned that isn't necessarily going to involve the consumers in it, but it's necessary research that needs to get done. They can get paid for information that they get. Frankly, they can get paid for the design of the aircrafts. They can get paid to make the aircrafts. There's a lot of avenues that this company really can go. My only concern is if there's the goal and really the main part of the business is going to be these commercial flights. Frankly, I just don't see it being viable. My only concern here, too, if we're looking deep into the business, again, I don't know anything about this company because it's trading at a market cap of $3.5 billion almost, but they don't have any sort of revenue numbers. They don't have any sort of EPS numbers. They don't have anything going on. I mean, the price to sales from what they even give here is 750, because they're not actually selling any product commercially right now. The only money they're making really is off some small contracts. They're not really making big money. They're making money at all. So my question here is, when do they become commercially viable? Because right now, this stock is 100% speculation, and if we reach a rough time in the market, those 100% speculation stocks will tend to get hammered. That's just how it is. People are going to be buying or selling out of them because there's nothing backing that value. It's a cryptocurrency argument right now. If you think about it, what's backing Virgin Galactic right now? What revenue is it? What profit is it? It's all speculation again. And you see what happened. I don't know. I mean, it's ridiculous, I think, slightly to compare to a cryptocurrency, because at least those have some value depending on where you use it. Virgin Galactic stock, I don't know on because I don't know the numbers. And they're not giving me the numbers, and I want to know the numbers, please. So, as far as I'm concerned, this is a stock that I am not going to get myself involved with. No matter what, this stock is going to fluctuate very heavily. Volatility will be very high. I'm not going to associate myself with it because of the fact that I just don't know what's going on. This could be a sham business for all I know. I don't think it is, but for all I know, they could just say next year, sorry, we ran out of money. We're done. It could go that way, and I guess that could go with several companies, but at least other companies are going to give me an idea of what their revenue looks like and what their plan is for the future in terms of making revenue. I have no clue on this for this company. That's my concern. Maybe that's research I've missed, but so far I've seen nothing regarding any sort of potential revenue generating opportunities at all for at least, I know, for the next upcoming year. There's no doubt about that, because right now we're still in commercial test flight phases. We're in test flights. We don't know anything about what this future holds. They have like two aircrafts at best. I think they've only built one. I don't know if they've completed the one, so there's a lot of concern here. A lot of concern regarding this stock, and I'm just scared people are going to get involved with it and not know what they're getting into. So let's look, though, at some of the news related to the stock and what's going on with this trading. Maybe convince me a little bit. We'll take a look. So we're going back to start in December. Morgan Stanley held the second annual Space Summit in December. Adam Jonas tells CNBC the NYC event tripled the investor count compared to last year's conference. So people are interested. Investors are interested in the market of space, really. So there's still knowledge gaps for sure. A lot of people need to understand a lot about space. Personally, I would suggest, in my opinion, I think space is something everyone really needs to know about. Honestly, anyone listening to this, if you just want to take even a basic level astronomy class at a local community college, you could probably get away doing it for a couple $100. And you know what? I think it'll be absolutely worth it. I think space is something you need to know. So, in my opinion, go right ahead. Take one of those classes. That's my opinion on it. Because there's a lot that I learned through college that, it's not necessarily something you'd say beneficial in my career field. It certainly isn't, and I doubt it ever will be. But it's just good facts to know. And again, you could be the Ken Jennings of, on Jeopardy if you want to with all this extra knowledge you gain. But investors are interested in space. They just got to learn more about it, right? So, back in December as well, obviously, this is the summit that they had there. So, Adam Jonas, Virgin Galactic's reiterated expectations at the summit for a commercial operations launch in 2020. Okay, with scaling efforts materializing in 2021. The company sees long-haul premium market today at $300 billion to $400 billion and expects to reach $500 billion in the next 5 to 10 years. Yikes. That's an estimate for them, but how? That's my real question. How is this possible? They were given a price target of 22. And I understand this is a huge market. There's no doubt about it. This is a huge market, just not even just United States-wide, globally. This is a huge market just for the whole planet. This is what the future's coming to. It's going to be space. So where do we get this idea that, I understand the market as a whole could equal that, but who's going to be getting that market share? There's many companies out there. Virgin Galactic certainly isn't the only one. They're very innovative. I will say that. Very innovative in what they're making. And if you take a look on their website on the vehicles, the crafts they're making, certainly I would suggest it. It's interesting. So again, I understand where they're gonna get. They want people to get involved, because if they're not getting investors, it's the reason they went public. If they're not getting people involved, they're not going to be making money. Right now their only money is going to be coming from being publicly traded. That's just really how it is, and then personal investments. So, they're getting money from people investing in them. That's how they get their money right now. So, But here in January, obviously, we have some construction milestones. So we now have 2 spaceships which are structurally complete, with our third making good progress. So they are making progress on building some ships. So they do have 2 completed, which is nice. These spaceships are destined to provide thousands of private astronauts with a truly transformative experience by performing regular trips to space. The company has not set a date for the start of commercial operations, but it anticipates doing so in 2020. It anticipates giving a date in 2020 or launching. Probably, I mean, obviously, they're anticipating launching some of these flights, but again, this is going to be all private right now. It's going to be all private depending on what's going on there, what they're going to do it for. For the most part, they're going to start with research. That's really the goal, to start, and that's going to be a good start point for them. So good progress for them. Two planes down. Good progress on the third. I mean, overall, that's a couple-year period, but as long as they get the formula down, it'll make sense. We also have Virgin Galactic plans to bring on another 50-plus employees in New Mexico, including a variety of STEM positions. So, again, interesting. If they're going to be hiring people, it's a good sign for the business. It is. You can't hire people if you don't have the money to hire people, you know what I mean? So it's a good thing that they're anticipating some growth. You hire for anticipated growth. You don't hire if you anticipate not growing sales. That's just really how it goes. If you don't know business, jobs include propulsion and avionics mechanics, as well as engineers, a spokeswoman told Albuquerque Business First. Following Virgin's first commercial flight, we expect to take place in June. The space company plans to scale operations to an estimated 16 flights to take place this year, 115 next year, 270 by 2023. Okay, there's a timeline, some estimates. What's going to keep it there? I mean, what's going to grow them from 16 this year in half a year to 115 next year? We'll see. Obviously, they're going to have more aircrafts, which is probably going to be why. The only thing is, with this, money is a big concern. These obviously are not cheap aircrafts to make. By far, they're not. The fuel for these is extremely expensive. I mean, if you're talking about a NASA rocket, you're talking billions of dollars, right? These shuttles are going to cost upwards of $500,000 to $1 billion. There's no doubt about it. And where's that money coming from for these guys is my concern. How are they going to stay sustainable without, influx of cash? My only concern is the amount of debt they're going to have to bring on. So Virgin Galactic also has appointed a COO, which they did not previously have. Again, good. They're creating positions, which is a good sign for them. I can't deny that. So good for Enrico Palermo. Good for him taking that role. We have, since the end of the Space Shuttle program in 2011, the U.S. has paid Russia to fly NASA's astronauts to International Space Station at a cost of as much as $86 million per seat. Rough. That's about to change as SpaceX, that's right, completed an in-flight abort test of its Crew Dragon capsule. The inaugural launch of NASA astronauts will likely take place in the second quarter of the year, according to Elon Musk, with NASA expected to pay $55 million per astronaut to fly to the International Space Station. So again, that saves us, as a country, $31 million per person. But that's $55 million in Elon Musk's pocket, though. That's not Virgin Galactic. Just something to point out here. Just mentioning that as an important little touchstone. If SpaceX and Elon Musk truly, obviously, and Elon Musk has a lot more capital. He's better at raising capital. If he wants to get in the space game, he certainly can. The thing is SpaceX going to beat Virgin Galactic to it and beat him out? I think there's certainly a chance that happens. It's going to be hard to have really multiple competitors in this field because NASA's going to side with one person. You know what I mean? NASA's going to team up with one company. That's just really how government contracts go. They're not going to be teaming up with both SpaceX and Virgin Galactic. Just now how it goes. So Virgin Galactic have their own private operation going, but what's it going to matter if NASA's busy working with SpaceX and fueling SpaceX through cash influxes, the government's paying for all these trips, everything like that. That's my concern on the matter. SpaceX is a huge competitor to Virgin Galactic right now. There is no denying that. But Virgin Galactic announces that George Whitesides, their CEO, will be presenting at the Barclays Industrial Conference on February 20th. So that's a huge event to look at, see what happens there. We might hear some good news. Obviously, this guy is going to come out and say, this is what we expect to happen. He's going to give good estimates, and they're pretty much going to be blown out of the water type estimates. Like, they have to at this point. That's how they get investors involved with the company. They're going to say, we expect to grow business 500 times in the next year. They're going to say that. It's going to be absurd, but they're going to say it. You just wait. So this event could be a potential share price catalyst, and investors looking for new developments from this company. Again, people are waiting. It's a very news-driven stock right now. Depending on what news there is, it's going to go up or it's going to go down. Astronauts Douglas and Hurley. Shares of Virgin Galactic trade space higher as a successful test flight by SpaceX of its crew ready capsule over the weekend. Astronauts Douglas Hurley and Robert Behnken are expected to take the Dragon to and from the International Space Station sometime in Q2, so a lot sooner than the plans for Virgin Galactic, obviously mentioned. It's the best monthly performance for the stock since going public more than 2 years ago. Virgin Galactic, ticker symbol SPCE, is up 66% since January 1st. Wild. As an appetite for space tourism heats up, Morgan Stanley analyst Adam Jonas, this idiot, sorry, I didn't mean to say that. He's the worst Jonas brother, though, wrote in a note that the bank is having more conversations about Virgin Galactic than any other U.S. stock, with the possible exception of Tesla. So the funding could potentially be there if you think about it. But then again, Adam Jonas, I don't know how he knows the information that he's saying, but this looks like there could be some funding. I'm just saying, Morgan Stanley could be funding Virgin Galactic. What can I say? Who knows? If Virgin Galactic gets invested, that's really their funding that they could use. Heck, that's a big investment for them if they get that. So definitely worth seeing. But we also have Virgin Galactic cools down. So again, we saw that little downward movement a little bit. So now it's back in the 17 and a half range, 17, close to 18 range. The stock is in a bit of a honeymoon period, with Morgan Stanley, Credit Suisse, and UBS all recently issuing strong comments on the upside potential, and earnings not due until February 25th. Analysts think that even the company's quarterly losses could be overlooked by short-term if they update on bookings and the spaceflight timetable is positive. Again, that's really all it is. They're going to need spectacular guidance, and that's what's going to drive the stock, because it's in a speculative state. No one is really going to care about their numbers right now in terms of loss. It's really not going to happen. They're going to need to post a pretty darn good quarter with guidance, at least, and they might be able to get some investors. Otherwise, I'm scared for where the stock goes. That's really all I have to say about the stock. Again, I'm staying out of it just because it's such a speculative. I already have a couple speculative stocks in my portfolio. I don't doubt that this could potentially get someone money someday, but I have a good 3 or 4 speculative stocks already. That's kind of what I try to limit myself to. Only a handful, so I want to be staying out of Virgin Galactic right now. Obviously, I missed out on a little bit of a run-up period, but it's okay. If you're interested in the stock, definitely go ahead and invest. Just do your own research. If you believe this company has a chance to be successful, I personally think it could. I just am scared of competition, in my opinion. So that's all I really have to say. So I really hope you enjoyed. If you want to see anything else like this, go ahead and let me know. If you want to see specific stock breakdowns, I will gladly go for them for you.